Welcome back. We're up to Lesson 13 on igneous rock. Most of the lesson is about igneous rock, although we have added an important activity at the end of this lesson, and that's necessary to move toward meeting this course of study outcome 8, which we worked on in the past lesson as well. Lesson 13 begins with students examining what they know about rocks and what a rock is made of. Students then examine and observe igneous rock, take notes, try to figure out what minerals are in the rocks they've observed. And then there's a reading in which students learn big words, extrusive igneous rock and intrusive igneous rock. And that's fun for students. This part of the lesson is self-explanatory, and you can read your teacher's edition and your PowerPoint notes and do just fine following that. We've added an activity on modeling the rock cycle in which students use starburst candy to model the steps and the phases in the rock cycle. And again, you may or may not need to do some review on the rock cycle, and particularly this little chunk of words here on slide 162. These are the words that students need to be familiar with as they go through the rock cycle. I'm going to click on this slide so you can see the notes. So students are looking for physical and chemical processes involved in the rock cycle. A lot of students know by the time they get to 6th grade the physical processes, but you may need to go over the chemical processes, the chemical weathering and acidification that goes on in the rock cycle. So you and your students, however best suits your needs, will examine these situations and talk through the phases in the rock cycle. So as you cut up starburst candy and mix up the pieces, that models sedimentation. Putting a few pieces in the water models chemical weathering, and again, that's the part you may need to pull in some background. Smashing pieces of candy together, that's like cementation. Adding heat and pressure is the same processes that are going on inside Earth to form metamorphic rock, and melting and then cooling are the processes that form igneous rock. So again, you can use these pieces of candy to model the rock cycle as you talk about it, and then students are to come up with their own demonstration showing the stages of the rock cycle using the candy pieces. So I know these two sound like they're pretty much the same. You can tweak them as you need to for your students. We are including some aluminum foil, and directions are in your notes to line a beaker with aluminum foil and melt them in the hot pot so that it's easier to clean up. We hope that you're remembering to have students fill in this chart as they go through this module. And that brings us to the end of Lesson 13. If you get some great rocks from your candy pieces that really look like the types of rocks that they're modeling, please take some pictures and send them in to us. Thanks a lot. We'll see you back for Lesson 14.